Hey, I'm Andrew Phelan from the River and the Road, and you're watching the AU Review.
I'd say welcome to Canadian Music Week and welcome to Toronto, but
Yeah.
I feel that that's a slightly redundant thing to say.
Yeah, no, I think it's not my first rodeo, that's for sure. I think it's second time at CMW, and we've played Toronto. I think this will be our sixth or seventh time. Our bass player's from Toronto, so all of his schoolmates are here, and it gives us a chance to kind of drop in and get a nice inbuilt crowd. So.
Well, we last saw you when you were touring Australia, which I guess was a year and a half ago now?
Yeah, maybe even longer. Summer of 2012, 2013.
Yeah, so maybe that's
almost 2 years now.
It's over 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
Wow. And since you've been doing that, you've been working on a lot of new music. And so tell us a little bit about what's been happening over the last 2.5 years.
Let's
just wrap it up in
a concise little elevator pitch. Finishing a lot of new music was the big one for us as well. We finished an album. We've been writing it for about, as long as we've known each other, really, Keenan and I. And it's the first album where the four of us are all together, working together. The first one was just Keenan, the other singer, and myself.
Yep.
And I played drums, and we had some hired musicians. But now the four of us, Cole, John, Keenan, and myself, we were recording in Toronto late last year, finished the album off in November, and we've got it for release here. So it's kind of, I think the main thing is touring the country a couple of times. We've done Halifax to Vancouver Island twice.
Yeah.
And then planning an Australian tour at the end of this year.
So you'll be back to bring us the new material.
Absolutely. Yeah, that and all the rest of the stuff that we're planning on recording in probably the next year, I think.
Did you find after those shows that you did last time around that there was, growing interest for you? Obviously, you've got some connections there, which helps a little bit in some cities at least.
Absolutely, it doesn't hurt having family in Sydney for sure. But I mean, we played a lot of really cool places in Melbourne and just hung out there and busked a lot to try and just kind of ramp up. Let the Canadians do most of the talking because my accent isn't really that exotic in Australia. But I think we've had a lot of people wanting us to come back. So at the moment, being CMW, there's so many Australians and Canadians and labels and people to talk to. So we'll start kind of throwing some ideas around with them as well. So I think it's going to be a little bit more concise when we tour next time. It won't just be us sleeping on floors and doing all that kind of stuff.
And when you're making music collaboratively all together, that must also then bring together a tighter live set too, because everyone's had a part in the music they're playing. Tell us a little bit about how the live show is shaping up these days.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've all really kind of started developing our own sound, which is really important. At the start, you've got your songwriting style and you're making whatever you can work. And then as you start to play and tour, you suddenly realize that, you have to kind of define yourself as a player in the band. And we recorded a lot of it live, so we started watching a lot of how each other plays in the studio, and then that transfers really well onto a live stage because you kind of look across and go, oh yeah, I remember looking at you in the isolation booth during that part and agonizing over that for a couple of days. So it definitely tightens all the bolts because I'm thinking like a drummer or a bass player and they're thinking like a guitarist and a singer. And cross-pollination.
All the cross-pollination that a band needs.
Yeah.
And beyond, so after Toronto, what's next for you?
We've got Ottawa. So we've got the Horseshoe tonight, and then we've got Ottawa, Montreal, some Northern Ontario dates, and then we work our way back through the prairies slowly, and then Vancouver Island, and then summer festivals. So we're playing Squamish Fest with who is it? Sam Smith and Mumford & Sons and Drake. And it's going to be an interesting summer for us. Back in Toronto when it gets hotter as well.
Yeah, I mean, how beautiful is the weather today?
It's gorgeous. Yeah, I feel like I'm back in Sydney right now.
Feeling right at home.
Absolutely.
It didn't sound like it was a fun winter.
No, it was brutal. I mean, I took a trip down to Sydney to escape the minus temperatures for as much as I could. But, I was up at a cabin this morning, and we were sitting and it was 30 degrees on the beach, and my feet were in the water, had my shirt off, and I was looking across the bay, and the hills across the other side had snow on them. So it was just this, like, it stays cold up there, you know.
Yeah.
The lake I had my feet in was frozen over 3 weeks ago.
Jeez.
So
And you have frostbite now.
exactly,
of the lower legs.
they're going to be wheeling me up onto the stage tonight.
Well, looking forward to the show tonight. And,
thank you.
Until next time.
Absolutely.
We'll see you in Australia very soon, by the sounds of it.
Hopefully this summer. Absolutely. Thank you.